Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tour Tuesday.
Oh,
Like my background, it's fall. Well, it's
yes, I
not
do.
really fall, but
Yeah.
it's the closest thing that I could find to fall.
Mhm.
So it's good to see everybody, and thank you so much for joining us. We're glad to have you all here today. It's a nice big group, and we're thrilled to be able to continue with our popular Tour Tuesday program. In this case, I'm coming to you from Philadelphia. I relocated for this session to Philadelphia because I'm going to be taking out my son, and our family is going to be joining in for his 20th birthday. So yes, I have a 20-year-old. I'm so excited. That's my oldest son, and the whole family is here tonight to take him out to dinner. So I figured I would have my happy hour with you guys, because who wouldn't want to celebrate with my favorite friends and clients? So thank you for being here and joining me on this. Of course, my special co-host today is Penny Rudolph, who you can see on your screen. I know she's a familiar face to you, whether you've met her on tour or you've seen her on Tour Tuesday. She is a wealth of knowledge about tours and everything, really. So we're happy to have Penny join us today. And I see some other tour directors joining us. I see Gene Gray. Wave hi, Gene. Um, there he is. And Evie Simon in the pretty striped shirt. I see her as well. So um, thank you very much to our tour directors that are joining us. And of course, welcome to all our travelers, our past travelers, and future travelers alike. So if you haven't traveled with us, hopefully after watching this, you will sign up to book a trip right away. And Deb Ayers would be joining us, but the lucky lady is just finishing up a few vacation days, and she'll be back in the office tomorrow. So she says hello to all of you. So we are going to jump right in to talk about some fall foliage trips that we have for you. And we have a good selection of fall foliage trips. These are timed as best we can to give you a beautiful an opportunity to see beautiful foliage, the trees changing colors, the leaves starting to fall, the weather just starting to cool off a little bit. And September and October are great times to travel. The summer is over, the heat is gone. If kids are back in school, and it kind of quiets down a little bit, and it's nice to be able to travel in September and October. September and October are our busiest months of the year. In fact, the first weekend in October is the busiest week of our year, specifically. So when you get hired to be a tour director at Starr Tours, you have to commit to working 6 weekends out of the 8 or 9 weekends between September and October. So you really have to have great availability for fall, because we need you on tour, because that's when the large majority of our trips go out. And this year is no exception. The different thing about this year is our trips are selling out much faster than ever. People are just excited and ready to get back into traveling. Of course, being safe and masking up, et cetera, et cetera. But the large majority of our, you guys can still hear me, right? I just got an unstable message from my internet. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear
Right.
me. Okay, good. Thank you. So the large majority of our travelers take at least one, sometimes two, even 3 trips in September and October. And our tour directors are working very, very hard during those times. Some of them are even taking trips back to back. And people like Penny know how hard that is. So you're preparing for one trip while you're on another trip. It's it's very hectic these months, but everybody loves to travel and we want to be able to give you that. So all of our buses will be very, very busy, and all of our drivers will be very, very busy, and all of our tour directors will be very, very busy in September and October. So we wanted to preview 7 fall foliage trips for you tonight. Now, these trips, of course, can be taken throughout the year. In fact, sometimes we do offer them at other times other than peak fall foliage times, but we're just going to talk about the departures that are specifically geared to fall foliage. So how we're going to do it is, I didn't make a specific presentation that like you're used to. I am going to show you our website, and we are going to navigate the website together to so that A, you can learn how to navigate our website, and B, you can see where to find this information yourself, and we can talk about and highlight these tours. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. And do you all see the Starr website? All right, good. So this is what you see if you come to the Starr website. We talk about bus charter and tour services. The place that all of you guys always want to hit is this tours navigation bar. We're going to show you a couple different ways, but if you click on here, this is going to take you to the tours page, okay? And the first trip we're going to find is Shenandoah. Now, I don't need to type in the whole name of the trip, just one word in the title of the trip should work. So in this case, Shenandoah, we'll type that in, and the results bring up the one and only Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, featuring Natural Bridge. So when you find this trip, or any trip, you'll see that there's 4 pictures that come up, and you can scroll through these pictures, okay? And you can see a little bit of a blurb right about the tour. In this case, visit the Shenandoah Valley and discover its rich heritage, culture, beautiful scenery, and attractions. And then you can see the prices, the duration of the trip. In this case, this trip is 4 days and 3 nights, and the number of included meals. So already you can see that the website gives more information than the catalog. And in the catalog, we can only fit so much in black and white. So we really encourage you to come right over to the website and learn more about these trips. So in this case, whenever we search for a tour, it puts us right onto the itinerary. So we're going to go through the itinerary in a second, but the next tab is dates and prices. Okay, this is really important. It really should be called dates, prices, and departure locations. But you guys know now that the dates and prices tab is where you find the departure locations. So in this case, we have 2 dates, okay? Lots of departure locations for each trip, and then the prices again for each trip, okay? So that's the dates and prices tab. And you can book by clicking this button, okay? And that's a really easy process as well. Then over here, this tab shows us the highlights of the trip. So we're going to go through each attraction or piece of the tour that you would want to know more details about. That's highlights. This tab is accommodations, okay? This tells you about where we're staying. So you don't need to call us and ask us where you're staying on this trip. You can just go right onto the website. And in this case, it's going to show you we're staying at the Fairfield Inn in Harrisonburg, Virginia. And then here, this important section is called Need to Know. This is what we want you to look at just to see if there's anything you need to know before you book or before you take this trip. So just some helpful hints that we have put down for you. In addition, the accessibility information is in this section as well. So if you have a handicap of any kind, you can come here to see how you will experience this trip. In this case, in Natural Bridge, there's 137 steps down to the bridge from the visitor center. Excuse me, that's important to know if steps are not your friend. I've recently just visited Natural Bridge, so I took those 137 steps, and I definitely was huffing and puffing when I got back up them. when I got back up there. And this says that there's an 18 passenger shuttle, but they're not running the shuttle currently due to COVID. So you want to plan on taking those steps. So let's pop back to the itinerary, and we're going to go through this trip. I'm actually going to let Penny go through this trip all 4 days.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Glad to see you're all here looking for cooler weather in the fall and some of our wonderful tours that we have. So on day one of the Shenandoah Valley, we're going to travel to Middletown, Virginia, down along beautiful Route 81. We'll have lunch on our own. And then we'll go to the Belle Grove Plantation and have a classic tour there. It's a beautiful plantation. You really enjoy that. And after our tour and some little snacks there, we will be heading over to Harrisonburg, Virginia, where we will check in for 3 overnights at the Fairfield Inn. The nice thing on this tour, we stay in the same hotel all 3 nights and we're not moving around. We will have dinner included at the Wood Grill Buffet. On day 2, we will have breakfast at a hotel, and then we'll have a guided tour of the Shenandoah National Park. It is absolutely breathtakingly beautiful in the fall. We'll see the turning of the leaves. We'll ride along the ridge, and we'll have lunch at the highest point on the drive at the Skyland Resort. We will then have a self-guided tour of Luray Caverns. They're beautiful. You'll see all the stalagmites and stalactites, and we'll return to our hotel, freshen up, and dinner will be on our own. And there's several restaurants around the area of our hotel. On day 3, after breakfast at the hotel, we're going to travel to Charlottesville, Virginia. We'll have admission and tour Monticello, which is the home of Thomas Jefferson. They have a wonderful tour and a video. You'll truly enjoy that. And then a special lunch at Mikey Tavern. They have great Southern food. You'll truly enjoy that in a very historic old building. Then we'll travel to Natural Bridge, which is just off of 81, and we'll have admission to the Natural Bridge State Park. Their visitor center, by the way, has all crafts and paintings and wares that are made by Virginia artisans. That in itself is beautiful. After we spend some time there, we will travel back to our hotel, and again, we will have dinner on our own. On our last day, we'll have breakfast at the hotel, check out, and we'll travel to Winchester, Virginia, and go to the Museum of the Shenandoah. We'll have a guided tour of the house in the gardens. The home is just beautiful, and they have like a little secret garden with a Japanese tea garden. Property is beautiful. They always have displays of different paintings in the museum, and we will have a sandwich lunch buffet at the museum before we travel home. This is a wonderful 4-day trip and a great way to welcome in the fall.
Excellent. Thank you, Penny. And as I mentioned before, we have 2 departures, September 12th and October 3rd. Your guess is as good as mine as to when the fall foliage will be best, but either way, it will be a beautiful trip with lots of scenery. Again, if you wanted to come back and look at these highlights, you're welcome to do that at any time. And don't forget where you can find that information for need to know. So before we move on to the next tour, does anybody have any questions about the Shenandoah trip? All right. Very good. Very good. We are going to move on to Vermont. So I am going to share my screen again. All right. So now we've looked at Shenandoah Valley, and let's start from scratch, and I'll show you a different way. So I went back to the Starr homepage, and instead of going up here to tours, I went down here to browse tours. Okay, so I can browse our tours here. And I'm going to go back down here I can look at one-day tours, multi-day tours, flying cruise vacations, holiday trips, or all the tours. I'm going to click on multi-day bus tours, and here's a list of all of our tours in alphabetical order. So if you wanted to see all of our tours, all of our multi-day tours, that's how you would do it. I'm going to move to page 2, and I'm going to scroll down to V. Maybe I should have done this one with an A tour. Vermont Fall Splendor. I'm going to click on that. And this is a lovely tour. I'll take you through the photos. Vermont in the fall is absolutely spectacular. It is a 4-day, 3-night trip. There's 3 breakfasts included and 2 dinners. Let's pop over here. It's September 16th. You can see our departure locations are listed, and you can book right online right here. Okay. So on our first day, our first day is a travel day, and we are going to travel all the way up to Cavendish, Vermont. It is a full day's drive, but as you know, we stop every 2 to 3 hours for you to stretch your legs at a rest stop or either a lunch stop. So we'll have lunch on own en route. And our destination is the Point Hotel at Castle Hill. Now, Castle Hill is a beautiful resort. There is a castle, yes, set on the very top of a hill, and we'll be at the Point Hotel, which is on the property at the bottom of the hill. This is a nice property where we'll spend 3 nights. On our first night, we will have dinner at the castle, and that's an absolutely lovely dinner. We take you up the hill by bus, and you will eat an included dinner on our first night, and you can meet all of your traveling companions at that dinner. On our second day, we'll have breakfast at the Point Hotel, and then we'll head over to Weybridge, Vermont, and we'll do admission and guided tour of Morgan Horse Farm. Now let's talk about Morgan Horse Farm. I'm going to pop over here to the highlights, and we can learn more about Morgan Horse Farm together. So Morgan Horse Farm is operated by the University of Vermont and is dedicated to the preservation and improvement of the Morgan horse through breeding and selection. So it's a very special place where we will do a guided tour of the barn and its facilities, see lots of beautiful horses, and actually get to see a riding demonstration. So that's a very nice attraction that we'll get to do. Then we'll head over to Middlebury, Vermont, where we'll have lunch on own in this quaint town with lots of options. And then we'll get back on the bus and we'll go over to Chittenden, Vermont, and see Baird Farm. So Baird Farm is a bit different. It's where we'll learn the process of making maple syrup. So, and we'll all get free samples, which super exciting. You can't go to Vermont without learning about maple syrup. Then we're going to travel to Plymouth Notch, and we'll visit the Calvin Coolidge Historical Site. Okay, the Calvin Coolidge Historical Site is actually the birthplace and boyhood home of Calvin Coolidge. Okay, it's very cool. It has not been changed since 1923. So you can see lots of archives and really cool furnishings all the way back from when this was built in the early 1900s. Okay, so when we finish up with the Calvin Coolidge Historical Site, that's a full day. We're going to go back to the hotel and we'll relax, and then we'll have a turkey dinner at the Point Hotel. So tonight's dinner is not at the castle, it's at the hotel, and it's quite lovely. I think you'll all enjoy it. You'll be very tired after a busy day. On our third day, we'll wake up and have another nice breakfast at hotel, and we'll head over to Woodstock, Vermont to tour Billings Farm and Museum. Well, let's look at Billings Farm and Museum. This is a working dairy farm. Again, very different than our maple sugar experience. And we will get to know some famous Jersey cows. Yes, Jersey cows in Vermont. Sheep, horses, and chickens, as well as other animals. So we'll be quite busy. And we'll even see a film while we're there. So Billings Farm is great. Then, as the itinerary says, we're going to head over to Kechi, Vermont. Kechi, Vermont. Kechi. And we'll stop at Kechi Gorge, which will be an absolutely beautiful photo stop with lots of foliage and views for you to see. And then we'll stop at the Kichi Gorge Village. And as you can see, going over to our highlights, the village, it's an original woodsman museum, a country store, and an antique mall, but it is a premier shopping attraction now. So they've got a Cabot cheese store, Danforth pewter. This is where you're going to want to do lots of your shopping. So it's historic, but it's also got some really cool new gift items as well. Then we are going to head over to Vermont Spirits Distilling. And this is an award-winning distillery, and we'll be able to taste some of its craft. Maybe even try some vodka, gin, bourbon, etc. So this is a really fun stop for us, and it's right in the village. Okay. Then we are going to return back to the hotel, following a scenic route, and we'll take you to dinner tonight in Ludlow, Vermont, which is also a nice little town with lots of different dining options for you. Of course, you could stay at the hotel, but if you want to experience Ludlow, we welcome you to join us. And after 2 very busy days, we'll spend our 3rd night at the hotel, and we'll travel home on our 4th day. So it's a really lovely trip. The summer trip has sold out already, and this is the fall trip, timed for foliage. Again, looking at the date, you're looking at September 16th. So the accommodations, as you can see, at the Point Hotel, right in the midst of the Green Mountains, and just a short distance from Okemo Mountain, if you're familiar with Okemo. The guest rooms are well appointed, and it is a beautiful property. Okay, so that talks about Vermont. Does anybody have any questions about Vermont before we move on? You guys are doing great. All right, yell if you have any questions. I'm watching the chat as well. So let's go back here, and we'll go back to our home page, and we're going to look at the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon. And remember, I told you we could go up here. We can click right on tours right here, and this will take us to that tour page, and we can type in any word from the title of the tour. Let's type in Grand and see what happens. So see how Myrtle Beach, the Grand Strand came up, but in this case, Pennsylvania Grand Canyon was first. These tours, Houses of Frank Lloyd Wright or Longwood Gardens, they must have Grand in there somewhere, but of course, these are the ones with Grand in the title. So we're gonna click right on Pennsylvania's Grand Canyon. Okay, Pennsylvania's best kept street secret. I can guarantee you, if you tell lots of people you're going to the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon, they'll say, where? What's that? They're going to look at you like they have never heard of the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon. And that's the beauty of this trip. And this is the real thing. You get to do this on this trip. It's really, really special. You also get to do this. And Penny will tell you lots more as she goes through the itinerary.
Okay, so on day 1 of the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon, and by the way, this is truly a wonderful 3-day tour. And by noontime, you're already starting to do things on the tour because it's not really that far away. So we'll travel to Lewisburg, and we'll go to the Country Cupboard restaurant, where you have an included lunch buffet. They have delicious food there, and their macaroni and cheese is the best out of anywhere. They have lots of little shops.
I did a lot of shopping.
Oh, beautiful, and the florist,
lots of shopping,
a lot of things, bakery. It's wonderful. So from there, we're going to travel to Williamsport. Before checking into the hotel, we will be following along the Susquehanna River, and we'll take the west branch of the Susquehanna in the Susquehanna State Park, and we're going to get onto the Hiawatha Paddle Wheeler. It's 2 levels. You can sit inside, you can sit outside. They do have beverages for sale if you would like them. They give a narrated tour through the water, through the state park, and it is just beautiful. When we come back, we are going to head over to the Holiday Inn Express in Williamsport, and we will have a little get together when we get there. They always have a little something for us. It's beautiful, and we'll have 2 overnights there. Very conveniently located, restaurant in the hotel, several right around the hotel. Dinner is on your own that evening. Day 2, after having our breakfast, we're going to travel up to Ansonia. And Ansonia is the neighboring town to Wellsboro, located on Route 6. And in Ansonia, we're going to get on our covered wagon tour that's going to take us into the bottom, along the base, along Pine Gorge Creek in the Leonard Harrison State Park. It is very common to see eagles and eaglets and river otters and deer. On occasion, you see a bear, but it's beautiful. And the scenery and being there in the morning where everything is just pristine is a very special thing. When we're done our tour, we're going to go up to the state park itself, and we will have a boxed lunch that you can eat in the park, at the picnic tables. They have a visitor center with a wonderful 9-minute film presentation about the whole surrounding area. Back in the late 1800s, there were more millionaires in the Williamsport area than anywhere else in the world. And that is because they were the lumber barons, and every tree you will see on this tour is second generation growth. It was all cut down, and they sent the lumber down Pine Gorge Creek, down to the Susquehanna River. They sold the huge pine trunks for masts of ships. They sent them back to England. They sent other wood back to England, and they made tons and tons of money. Fortunately, after in the earlier 1900s, the CCC came in and they did replant all those trees. And that video tells you all about that. So it's an important part of our Pennsylvania history. After our box lunch, we're going to go to Ulysses, and we will have admission to the Pennsylvania Lumber Museum, where again, you're going to see how this whole thing worked. And it's a beautiful area, and absolutely well worthwhile seeing. We'll return to the hotel, and we will have dinner included at the Holiday Inn in Williamsport. The next morning after our breakfast, and we check out, we will have a guided tour of Millionaires Row, and it'll be all those mansions that those wealthy millionaires, those lumber barons lived in, as we go through the older part of town. And we'll be able to actually visit one of the homes, the Rowley House, built in the late 1800s. After that house was sold, it was purchased by a church, and the nuns in the church lived there. They changed nothing in that house. So when you see it, it is just like it was in the late 1800s. From there, we're going to have a self-guided tour of the Thomas Tabor Museum, and that gives the whole history of North Central Pennsylvania from the Native Americans up to current times. Well worthwhile. And we will have a boxed lunch at the Tabor Museum before we travel home. Wonderful 3 days. And it's, you may remember many years ago when Governor Rendell was the Pennsylvania governor, he used to say, come to Pennsylvania. And he stood in this area. It was all of the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon behind him.
Wow. Wow. Do you remember how long the wagon tour is, Penny?
The wagon tour is, we go a few miles into the canyon and back. They do have blankets for it. It's cushioned seats as we sit there. And they do have blankets for laps if it is cool. And I would say the tour is about 2 hours, a little over 2 hours long. And they do have a stop. We all get off when it turns around and heads back to the stables.
Excellent. Jean, I know you've escorted this trip too before, right? Anything to add?
No, just that it's absolutely gorgeous. The view of the canyon from up above is, well, I'm at the Grand Canyon now, as you can see behind me in Arizona. I'm really home in New Jersey. However, I'll be there on the 16th of September, actually, with the cross country trip. But this Grand Canyon is absolutely spectacular. If you can't make it out to Arizona, this is definitely second best.
Excellent.
Sorry, Pennsylvania, it's second best.
We forgive you. We forgive you. Any questions about this tour? We've got Penny and Jean available to answer your questions. All right, you guys are great. All right, we're going to move right along. I'm going to go back and we're going to search for my next tour to talk to you about. Let's do this. We'll use this drop down menu here and we're going to click on multi-day bus trips. Right, and that's going to show us a list of bus trips again, our multi-day bus trips. And I'm trying to find New Hampshire. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to go to page 2. And there we go. New Hampshire highlights featuring Indian Head Resort. So this is also a wonderful trip, a hotel where we stay for all 3 nights. And Penny is going to take us through this itinerary as well.
At the Indian Head Resort, we are nestled right in the mountains. We have a lake on one side. We have the mountains on the other side of the lake, the mountains in front of the hotel. It is right as you enter into the beautiful White Mountains highway. It's gorgeous. So day 1, as we travel up to Lincoln, New Hampshire, we'll have lunch along the way, and we'll have 3 overnights at the Indian Head Resort. We have lunch, dinner included, and they have like a little meet and greet after we get there. We'll have a wonderful dinner, and every night in the Thunderbird Lounge after dinner, they have entertainment. Every night, it's either singing or a musician or a comedian. It's wonderful. They had a Rod Stewart lookalike who sang like him. That was wonderful there. So you're always in for a surprise there. The next morning, we'll have a wonderful buffet breakfast, and the dining room looks out all over the lake and all over the mountains. It's quite a beautiful sight. We'll travel to Bretton Woods, and we'll go on the Mount Washington Cog Railway up to the summit of Mount Washington. Mount Washington is the highest mountain in the northeastern United States. It is just beautiful up there. Once you get up there, you will feel like you're on a moonscape. There's very little vegetation, but they have an area where you can walk to the peak. And on a clear day, I have seen the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Maine. You see 40 miles in all directions. It's beautiful. They have a visitor center up there. They have a restaurant. They have a gift shop. And when it's time, we'll take the Cog Railway back down to the bottom. We'll get onto our motor coach, and we're going to travel through the mountains, through the Notch to North Conway, New Hampshire. And North Conway is a lovely little area, and we'll have our lunch there, a little bit of shopping, and we'll return to the resort through Bear Notch Road and the scenic Kankamangas Highway. Locals call it the Kank. I have seen moose quite a number of times there, not every time, but I have seen them there. And when we get to the hotel, again, we'll have a wonderful dinner included. Their food is great. And we'll have evening entertainment once again in the Thunderbird Lounge. Day 3 is a real exciting day, because after our breakfast, we're going to head south a little bit, and we're going to go towards Lake Winnipesaukee. And in Moulton Barrow, New Hampshire, we'll visit Castle in the Clouds. That's the home of Thomas and Olive Plant. It's breathtaking. You take the bus as far up the mountain as you can. Then there's a tram that takes you to the peak, and the home itself is beautiful, and the surrounding areas that you look out over are breathtaking. You will have a little orientation with the guides that are up there, and then you'll travel on your own. When we're done, we'll take the tram back down to the coach, and we're going to head over to Weirs Beach, which is one of the little village towns right on Lake Winnipesaukee. And we're going to get onto the MS Mount Washington, and we will have a lunch cruise through the beautiful lake as we travel up to Meredith, New Hampshire. Once we get to Meredith, we're going to visit the Mill Falls Marketplace where you can do some shopping if you want to get some gifts or some souvenirs. Then we'll return to the resort for, again, a wonderful dinner at Indian Head and a performance in the Thunderbird Lounge. On day 4, after breakfast, our last day, we'll check out, say all of our goodbyes, with great memories of the beautiful White Mountains in New Hampshire. We'll have lunch on our own and head back home. So again, you stay at the same place all 3 nights, and it's a wonderful place, and the staff there is absolutely lovely.
And they love Starr travelers.
Yes, they do.
They really
Yes,
do.
they do.
I see a typo here. This should say day 3.
I know, it should say day 3.
Well, funny enough, on the summer trip, day 2 is day 3, and on the fall trip, day 3 is day 2. We flip them around in the summer and the fall. So we just forgot to change that when we changed that in our system. Any questions about the New Hampshire trip or the Indian Head Resort? All right, we're moving on. We are going to talk about, Penny is going to talk about another tour. Let's see. We're going to go back here, and we're in our search, and we're going to type in Lake George. All right, and let's see what comes up. This Lake George and Lake Placid Fall Splendor trip. This has a very special, well, we stay at a very special property right on the lake, but also we have a wonderful show put on by Laura Roth, and Penny's going to take you through the itinerary for this trip.
All right, again, this is a great 3-day trip, and at the end of the trip, you just want more of it. You just go home feeling so wonderful. We'll travel up the very scenic highway, up 87 into the Adirondacks to Lake George. We'll have lunch on our own as we travel up there, and we'll check into the Surfside on the lake that was recently completely redone just about 3 or 4 years ago. We will have a welcome wine and cheese reception, followed by dinner at the hotel. The property, by the way, it's right on the lake. They have a beautiful outdoor pool. They have a little beach you can walk to with all the mountains in the background. It's quite beautiful. And they have a large deck area where you can sit with Adirondack chairs. It's lovely. Day 2, we'll have breakfast at the hotel, and we're going to travel to Fort Ticonderoga. That's at the southern end of Lake Champlain. And Lake Champlain, actually through the Champlain locks, will connect to the Hudson River and towards Lake George. Now we'll spend some time on tour in Fort Ticonderoga before heading to Lake Placid. Once we get to Lake Placid, we park on right by the old Olympic Village, and you'll go into town, you'll have your lunch, you can shop around a little bit, and then we'll meet back at the coach, have a guided tour throughout Lake Placid and the Olympic Village. We'll see some of the ski jumps and other places where they had their Olympic activities. We'll return to the hotel, and we'll have dinner and a performance featuring Laura Roth. And I must tell you, the scenery that you see up in Lake Placid and Lake George is just beautiful. And this time of year, it will be perfect. On day 3, we'll have breakfast at the hotel, we'll check out, and we're going to do a boat cruise on Lake George. Lake George is a 32-mile long lake, and it's a fissure lake. It is all fed by underground spring water. After our tour, we're going to visit Prospect Mountain. That's the mountain that looks all over the village. We'll take a ride up there. We'll get some great pictures, and then we'll head on our way home. We'll stop for lunch and continue on. It's an absolutely lovely, and it's close. You can, when you get to the hotel, you can walk into the village, into the shops. It's lovely.
Excellent. And Sylvia says she's signed up for that trip.
You love it, Sylvia.
Anita is asking the dates for Hilton Head, for Indian Head, sorry, the dates for Indian Head, or the date that we're talking about tonight is September 26th. And maybe I'll take a minute to say, so New Hampshire and the Indian Head Resort is September 26th, and the tour director is Carol Brown. And then the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon, we have September 10th that Ann Anderson is escorting, and October 8th that Karen Coate is escorting. And I'll keep going. Vermont is September 16th, and Jane Peters Estes is escorting that trip. That's a good one. And Shenandoah, Kathy Gillespie is escorting September 12th, and the one and only Penny Rudolph is escorting October 3rd. So, so hopefully you can sign up for one of those awesome trips. And we've got a couple trips left. We're going to take you next through Pocono Fall Foliage. And let me share the screen again. All right, I'm going to pop back up here to tours. And we're going to type in Pocono for Pocono Fall Foliage. And this is a great short trip. If you want to just a quick getaway, this is one for you. It's super fun. We are, well, first of all, the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon trip departs. Well, remember, we can check our dates right here, October 13th and returns on October 14th. It is escorted by Betty Barr, who I think is on this call with us now. And our first day, we're going to head up to Wilkes-Barre. And Penny, how do you say Wilkes-Barre?
Well, some people say Wilkes-Barre and some say Wilkes-Barre. It depends if you live there or if you were born there or if you visit there. You'll hear it all different ways.
So I can say it anyway and I won't be
I say
wrong.
Wilkes-Barre.
All right, well, that's where we're going. You say Wilkes-Barre. Okay, well, I want to be like Penny, so I'm going to do the same thing. We'll first have lunch and a guided tour at the Frederick Stegmeyer Mansion. And then we have special entertainment by a barbershop quartet during lunch. It's really special. Remember, if we want to learn about the Stegmeyer Mansion, we just pop right over to highlights, okay? And the owners and operators of the Stegmeyer Brewery lived in Wilkes-Barre, and that's where that's their mansion, and we're going to see that. It's a restored Victorian mansion. It is hands-on. You can check everything out there, and it's a really nice stop, especially for the first day. It's not a long drive, right? So we can be here for lunch, and then after that, we're going to stop at the Luzerne County Courthouse. And remember, we can pop right over here and we'll see the county courthouse, which is a magnificent building, turn of the century building, and it has numerous paintings and designs, and it's a sight to see. So I think you all will enjoy seeing that. Then we are going to check into our hotel at the Woodlands Inn, where we'll stay for one night. And we'll have dinner on OWN at one of their restaurants. And if anybody wants, they can pop over to the Mohegan Sun nearby, Mohegan Sun Pocono Casino, where the bus will take you there. And there are dining and gaming options there. On our second day, we will wake up and not have a big breakfast because you're going to want to save your appetite for the German Fest. And the German Fest is, well, it's of course Oktoberfest during this time. So at the German Fest at Silver Birches, we're going, they greet us with coffee and apple streusel, sorry. You'll have time to shop around and look for gifts there. They'll have some vendors selling their wares, and then they'll do a strudel making demonstration. You can do make your own pretzels. It's sort of this really fun group event that everybody's busy and having fun. There'll be a live band where there'll be music and dancing if you wish, and we hope you do. There's an open bar with unlimited beer, wine, and soda. And then we'll sit down to a family style German meal, complete with, yes, wurst, kraut, and sauerbraten. So, and of course, other things as well, but it is very traditional and it is a German meal. So it's a really, really fun activity. A 2-day trip, short and sweet, just a quick little getaway. Fun to bring some friends too. So I hope you join us for that one as well. Not a far driving trip, which is also very nice.
Right.
Any questions about the Pocono trip? Just to restate, Betty is the tour director for the Pocono Fall Foliage trip, which is October 13th. And then Lake George, that is October 10th. I'm not sure if I said this, but Carol Brown is the tour director. So Lake George on October 10th is escorted by Carol Brown. And Robin wanted to tell us that her very first trip with Starr was the Vermont trip in September of 2001. Wow, September of 2001. It was fantastic. She's taken many wonderful trips with Starr and looks forward to many more. Penny is one of her favorite guides. So thank you for that, that note, Robin. And our last but not least tour is one of Penny's favorites. Of course, we do this tour spring, summer, and fall, but this is a special 4-day Cape Cod, October 3rd, timed perfectly for fall foliage. So we're going to take you through this 4-day tour. And well, Penny's going to take you through this 4-day tour because nobody can do Cape Cod better than Penny. And you'll see we have the 2 options, the Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard, and Nantucket, which is the 5-day. We're going to talk about this 4-day trip that includes Cape Cod and Martha's Vineyard. The other ones are kind of sold out, so I didn't even want to highlight that. But this is a very popular trip too, and the October date is starting to fill up fast. This is the October 3rd date, and Andy Byers is the tour director. So Andy Byers will be joining us on this October 3rd date, and it looks like we still do have room on September 22nd. So Penny, do you want to take us through this itinerary?
Sure. One of the nice things about going in October is that you still will have warm days and cool nights. You definitely will need a jacket. The crowds have disappeared and you have the area pretty much to yourselves. It's lovely at this time. So on day 1, we'll travel to Hyannis, and Hyannis is centrally located. We'll have lunch on our own on the way up, and we'll have 3 overnights at the Holiday Inn Cape Cod in Hyannis, and we have a delicious buffet dinner at the hotel on day 1. The hotel has a wonderful indoor pool, huge indoor pool, outdoor pool. They have the business center, they have an exercise room, they have restaurants nearby that you could walk to. They have a separate restaurant and a lounge right in the hotel. So take advantage of everything that they have there. The rooms are lovely, beautiful tiled showers. I think you'll really love it. All right, day 2, after our great buffet breakfast at the hotel, we're going to travel to Woods Hole with our local guide. Our local guide will take us over to Martha's Vineyard, and our bus comes with us. So when we get over to Martha's Vineyard, you have the comfort of our bus to go around the island. We will stop at the campground in Oak Bluffs, the beautiful campground. We'll go down to Edgartown. You'll have time for lunch and shopping there. You'll go around Joseph Silva Beach and see where Jaws was filmed, and the beautiful serene waters that surround Martha's Vineyard. We'll go through Vineyard Haven, and you'll really get to love Martha's Vineyard. It's a very, very, very special island. We'll return to the hotel, and you will have dinner on your own. On day 3, you'll have breakfast at the hotel. Again, a great buffet breakfast, and we're going to travel to Provincetown. Provincetown, I always say it's kind of like New Hope on the ocean. They have over 500 galleries. They have lots of restaurants. And if you want lobster roll, you like clam chowder, this is where you're definitely going to get it. So we will have a guided tour of the National Seashore and go through the sand dunes. The National Seashore is about 44,000 acres. And we go on like these dune buggy rides, but they're actually Chevy Suburbans. They're very, very comfortable. And you'll go out towards the ocean through the dunes, and you will be in awe of what you see. This is all part of the National Seashore Act. All of these lands have been preserved so that future generations can enjoy it, because these beach areas are so vulnerable to storms. After your tour, you'll have lunch on your own, lots of great places to eat. You'll have time to go up and down, visit places, whatever you would like, the time is yours. You can climb to the top of Pilgrim Monument. You can go down to Whalers Wharf. You can go into their little National Gallery or their local library, where they have a whole ship inside of it. It's just beautiful. When we leave, we will go again on part of the Cape Cod National Seashore, and we will view the Highland Light, which is also known as the Cape Cod Light or the first light. It dates back to the late 1700s. It's beautiful. It is in the process of getting some restoration there, but is well worth seeing it as you walk out to the ocean. And it was moved a number of years ago, some 400 and some feet, because it was in danger of falling into the ocean. And just seeing where it was, where it is now, it was quite an amazing feat. On the way back to the hotel, before getting back to the hotel, we will stop at the JFK Memorial in Hyannis. The people of Barnstable cared so much about the Kennedy family, and the Kennedy family was so generous to the people there and to the town, that they have this beautiful memorial right on the harbor, where John Kennedy and his brothers and sisters learned to swim, where they learned to sail. And it's next to a Korean War memorial, and no stop in Hyannis is complete unless you go there too. We will then return to the hotel, and again, you will have dinner on your own. After breakfast at the hotel, we're going to check out and travel to Mystic, Connecticut, to the old Mystic Village. It's a recreated village that dates back to like 1800s. Every store is unique. They have lots of little restaurants, a mill, a church. They have ducks and geese, and it's just a lovely, lovely place. And after that, we head on home. So come and enjoy us on one of these wonderful fall foliage tours. 3 days, 4 days, come with us.
Thanks, Penny.
Sure.
Angela says, yeah, she's going to be on that trip. And Vanetta says the dune ride is great. And I will tell you that I read all of the comments, the surveys that come back, and no one expects the dune ride to be as great as it is, and that ends up being the highlight for lots of people. So that dune ride is really special. So any questions about Cape Cod or any of the tours we talked about? Again, just to recap, that the Cape Cod departure is October 3rd with Andy as the tour director. So she'll do a great job on that. I'm going to open it up to any questions related to Starr. Susan is asking, do I think the Hotel ML in Mount Laurel will stay there even after the hotel is sold? Or will there be a new Burlington County location? It's a great question. It's a question of the day, Susan. I'm hoping that the location stays there. But we are working on a backup location just in case we aren't able to stay there. So we're telling everybody it's still the Hotel ML, because I would like to stay there, but understand that it may change if we're not allowed to park there. So that being said, if you have any ideas for a location, I'm all ears. I have been spending hours and hours and hours driving around and calling around to places in Mount Laurel, Morristown, and Maple Shade, as well as Cherry Hill, and I haven't had any luck yet, but I am trying and I will not give up. So that's the question of the day. Marianne is asking, is there a new catalog coming out soon? Well, we have decided, we've already sent 2 catalogs so far this year. There will be 1 more for the remainder of this year, and it will come out approximately September, October. So not really sure, probably in late September, and that will be our catalog to kick off 2022. We found that lots of our trips are selling this year just with those 2 catalogs, and we don't have our full assortment of trips available And we, of course, don't have all 54 seats to sell on the bus. So that's why the trips are selling out fast. Let's talk about COVID for a few minutes, or the Delta variant, COVID-21, as they say. So of course, you know that if you watch the news, the COVID cases are rising again. The good news that I will tell you is we have been operating trips now for 1 year, since last August. So we just finished our 12th month of trips, and we have had, knock on wood, 0 cases of problems of any kind. No infections, no sicknesses, no nothing. And that's really good news, and we're very proud of it. And we've been very vigilant, as you know, as if you've traveled with Penny or Jean, you know that we're reminding you to wear your masks over your nose and your mouth. That will not change for the time being. It is a government mandate to wear face masks on public transportation. That is what our tours are considered, public transportation. So through September and likely longer, we will be masking up on the bus the entire time we're on the bus. Depending on where we are visiting, we will follow the laws of the local, state, or municipality, and we will wear our masks accordingly. Of course, anybody is welcome to wear a mask more than what is required at any time, and we celebrate that. If you do choose to do that, we will support you. So Angela is commenting that she was on an Annapolis trip last fall, so during the height of COVID, and she felt very safe. So it is our job to take care of you, and we do that successfully, and we will continue to work hard to do that. So for the time being, there won't be anybody sitting next to single travelers, or if there's a third or a fifth traveler in a group, there won't be anybody sitting next to an odd number of travelers. We're keeping the front row open behind the driver, and we're wearing masks. Those are the 3 things that we can do. And then, of course, the company is making sure that the vehicles are cleaned and taken care of, and that the systems are all working to keep everybody safe and the air flowing through. So we continue to hope for and plan that we can continue to travel, and we will continue to do that safely. So does anybody have any questions? Wow, you guys are good. You're great listeners. I hope that by showing you how to navigate the website, that will help you in the future. And I'm even Deb would be mad at me if I didn't show you one more thing, because lots of you have trips to pay for. When you go here to our website, there is a section here called Make a Payment Online, and you can click there and you can make your payment right online, because we know it is hard to get a hold of us. I get it. There's pretty much, we're a small but mighty crew, and whenever you can, we would love for you to pay online. So that helps us out as well. So I thank you all for joining us. Oh, I have news. I have a winner. I have a $25 gift card winner. Hold please. I knew I had a couple things, 2 more things to talk about. Let's see. Our winner is Simone Newkirk. Is Simone still on the call? Oh, she is. And I love her video, her picture, her background. Congratulations, Simone. You won the $25 gift card. Yay. She looks happy. We'll be in contact with you so that you can use that. And we have a quick question. How many people are on the bus? And that depends, right? So it depends. Of course, the bus is seat 56. So the first 4 seats are going to be empty. So the maximum number is 52. And then if everybody on the bus is in 2s, we would have up to 52 people on the bus. But reality is you've got a lot of single travelers, or solo travelers, or maybe 3s or 5s. So there's going to be spots of empty seats throughout the bus. On average, the trips are going around 40 out of 56. So So that's the best question the best way to answer that question. And Jacob, what is your question? You can unmute yourself and ask the question.
How often
Jacob.
is there a tour Tuesday? Every Tuesday?
Great question, Jacob. I was just going to say that. We do Tour Tuesday every other Tuesday. Our next Tour Tuesday is August 10th, and we'll be talking about our Halloween themed vacations. So I hope you join us on Tuesday, August 10th at 6 p.m. and we'll be talking about our Halloween our Halloween themed vacations. I would like to especially thank Penny Rudolph for joining us tonight. Thank you, Penny, for a great job. We really appreciate your knowledge and your insight. And I thank all of you for joining us. And I wish you all a fun, safe, happy evening and rest of the week. And I'll see you on August 10th. Take care.
Happy
Enjoy.
birthday to Miles.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
Thank you for
Birthday
such a
party
great job.
Aw,
Thank you.
It was, great job, great job.
Penny does a great job, I tell you.
Yes,
She
yes.
sure does.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye-bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.